90.3 FM WHPC from the Pressbox on this Monday morning. If you have a question or a suggestion, give us a call, 516-572-7440. Let's talk Yankees and Mets. First of all, the Yankees have signed Ike Davis.
Woohoo.
Hey.
Where's Homer when I need him?
I think this is very important. Oh, I didn't know this. He's the son of Ron Davis. I didn't know that.
How do you not know that?
I don't know that.
Oh, you're killing me.
Actually, you know what? He looks like Ron Davis.
Yeah, he's his son. What do you think?
I didn't know that.
You look like Dad.
You look more like that.
Well, whatever. We're his sons.
Yeah, well, it doesn't mean it doesn't exactly look like. I don't know. Anyway, they signed him.
Yes, they did. I'm not happy.
He was playing in the AAA.
Yes.
But
yes, he was.
Do the Yankees need him? That's the question.
Yeah, right now, yeah, they do, unfortunately. Ike Davis is going to be the Yankees. Well, I can't count Greg Bird because he hasn't had an at-bat this season, but he will be the Yankees. If you count Bird, he will be the Yankees' 6th first baseman this season.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Can they bring back Tino?
No, Tino's old.
I know, but so what? You know, at first base you have to run a lot.
Tino's 50. He's not Gordie Howe.
You know, just have him stand on first base, that's all.
He still has to hit. They don't let you sub the hitters like that.
Manny Mota was like 100 when...
Yeah, he was a pinch hitter, though.
Yeah. What about Rusty?
So this is bad. All right, so that's the bottom line, is this is bad. All right. First we were looking at a situation where the hope was that Mark Teixeira would repeat what he did last season. Thus far, he has not done even anything close to that, which is bad. Then it was before the season started, Greg Bird, who was seen as the first baseman of the future, and probably still is, had shoulder surgery to fix some sort of a labrum issue, and is out for the season.
Wow.
Then since Teixeira has a cartilage issue in his knee, originally most people figured he was going to have surgery and be done for the season, which would actually also end his Yankee career since this is his last season on his contract. But he is apparently joining the team for their road trip to Colorado and is talking about the possibility of returning in a week or two. So that itself is good news, assuming there are no setbacks or issues with his return. In the interim, they brought up Chris Parmelee from the minor leagues. He wound up straining a hamstring stretching at first base. I mean, how do you do that? And Dustin Ackley, who really wasn't a first baseman, but the Yankees threw him in there after Teixeira got hurt because there was nobody really left to play it. But he almost immediately got hurt, and I don't remember what his injury was. I think it was a knee, and he's out for the season. So then came Rob Refsnyder, who's been trying to find a place on the Yankees roster. Been a very good hitter at AAA, but hasn't been able to find a spot. They thought they were going to have him at second base. He was an outfielder in college, and his thing is just put me out there and I'll figure it out in the field. He'd never played a professional game at first base before he had to start for the New York Yankees. I'm talking never in the minors, never in college. I don't even know if he ever played there in Little League.
I don't want to call it a desperate move. But
it is a desperate move.
Yeah, I want to be nice.
That is nice.
I don't want to look like I'm bashing the Yankees.
Meanwhile, Steve Swisher is still sitting at AAA for the Yankees. Nick Swisher, right? I said Steve?
Yeah.
I always get that. Steve is his father. He played catcher for the Cubs. But Nick Swisher is sitting down in AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre, batting somewhere around 235 and looking much older than his 35 years. And if with everything that's going on, if the Yankees still don't think enough of him to bring him up now, then Nick Swisher is never going to play for the Yankees again. Because I don't know how a 35-year-old who's playing at AAA is going to get better. Like, he's not going to find his swing also. I mean, he actually was hitting well right when he got to Scranton because the Yankees signed him as a free agent. after he was released. But now what? Now, I mean, his average is plummeting. I don't see it. He's a fan favorite. People are asking, oh, when are they bringing up Swishalicious and this? It's just he's not going to help. I mean, and the Yankees were talking about when they signed him.
The thing about Swisher is that he's actually been in that position, though. So, that's why you bring in Ike Davis. He's sort of been in this position where...
But Swisher was more of an outfielder. He played first base every once in a while. I mean, he's certainly not a first baseman, per se. I mean, the guy's 5'10". He's not a big target over there at first base. Ike Davis is at least like 6'3" or so.
He's a tall man.
And you hope that he can be able to take advantage of the short porch out in right field, but I'm not optimistic. Let's put it that way.
Well, the Yankees are 5.5 games out. They're almost even at 500. They're 492 percentage.
Yeah, they're what, 31 and 32 or something like
Baltimore's been playing very well.
But here's the thing: as miserable as the Yankees have been,
with Baltimore.
Yeah, but as miserable as the Yankees have been, if you look at the standings, the Yankees are 5.5 games out of first, and the Mets are 4.5 games out of first.
I know.
And most people think the Mets are playing so great and doing well, but the Mets have really kind of been a peaks and valleys kind of team this season.
On and off team this year.
Yeah, very much so.
Not the team. But then again, if you remember last year, they didn't really kick in until August. So
earlier than that.
End of July.
It was, because they had like a 10-game winning streak at some point, and that's what really propelled them.
Expecting. But
can't expect 10-game winning streak.
But at the same time, Washington is like last year. They're in first place at this point, and the Mets are in second. The Mets would probably make the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, but Washington is playing well. Yeah, the Mets have the fourth best record in the National League.
So,
but Washington is playing well. Last year they were struggling, and you could tell there was something wrong, mainly because they had so many injuries.
Right.
This season, they're healthy, or healthier anyway. Most of their players are playing well, and they're looking a lot stronger than the Mets right now.
And I didn't realize that Chicago, 43 and 18.
Yeah, wow. The Cubs they're making the case to win the World Series this year. Boy. And they're only getting better. That's a young team. It's a very young team.
They must be flipping out over that.
The pitching staff has been outstanding, and that's the surprise, because you expected Jake Arrieta and John Lester to be very good. You didn't expect Kyle Hendricks and Jason Hamill to be two of the best 10 pitchers in the National League to this point.
Wow.
And that's based on, like, they're both. The Cubs right now have 4 starting pitchers who have ratios under 1, which means that's one base runner per inning, which is outstanding. I mean, anything below like 1.25 is considered very good. To have 4 pitchers, 4 starters with whips under 1, that's supposed to be what the Mets start rotation is. And 2 of those guys for the Cubs are guys that most teams probably wouldn't have wanted.
Yeah,
let's face facts.
They're just doing incredible. I mean, they're at 705.
Yeah,
the best team in all of baseball right
by
now.
far.
God,
it's not even close.
If they just double what they have, I mean, they're going to really win.
Yep.
And of course, part of, I think, if you do that well, it's like the Mets of '86. If they didn't win the World Series, no one talks about them the way they talk about them now.
Well, I don't know if you can put the Cubs in that same category just because they haven't won a World Series in 100 years, 100+ years.
But, you look at what everyone said about the Warriors when they were losing. Oh, if they don't win, the season doesn't really count, even though they have the best, team record ever.
It's going to, with the Cubs, it's going to depend on, every team goes through rough stretches, and the Cubs really haven't gone through one yet. But if they continue the pace that they're on, they're going to be challenging the '98 Yankees. I mean, that's a team that a 700 winning percentage is going to get you somewhere in the neighborhood of 108 wins or 110 wins. So now you're talking about flirting with history here.
Yeah.
But you're also talking about a team that really hasn't lost any significant players to injury. Jorge Soler is on a disabled, and they lost Kyle Schwarber to a reconstructed knee, but both of those guys are replaceable. I mean, they have a lot of depth, and their minor league system has given them a ton of depth. They have probably the best minor league system in baseball, and that is a big reason why they can weather some storms. Their pitching is vital because they don't have the depth pitching-wise. If somebody gets hurt, and especially if Lester or Jake Arrieta gets hurt, then they're going to need to make a trade for a pitcher. And what they give up, that would be interesting to see, because they, like I said, they have a lot of talent in the minor leagues, and I'm curious to know, you know, I'm also curious, like, to me right now, I'm looking at the Yankees and I'm seeing a team that should not go all in for a playoff spot, and they shouldn't make the trades that people want to see for them to get players that would get them to a wild card spot.
You know, Yankee fans, they'll get the wild card.
But I thought it's so flawed in terms of what the reality for this team is and what they should be doing. I mean, they have pieces that they can trade. They could trade Beltran and get a productive player back from a minor leaguer. They could trade Chapman, whose contract is up. You know, Beltran's contract is up after this season. Chapman's contract is up. Chapman didn't get a big haul for it. I mean, they gave up a pretty decent haul, but it wasn't as much as they probably would have had to give up if Chapman hadn't had that domestic abuse thing hanging over his head. And I don't want to, I don't want anybody to say I'm saying domestic abuse thing like I'm dismissing it, because obviously it was a very significant and serious event. But they could bring back a lot of players, a lot of minor league players for him, a lot of future talent. Same goes for Andrew Miller, who has, I think, one more year left on his contract, and it's a very reasonable contract for a guy who was an outstanding closer last season.
What about CeCe? Do you trade him?
If there was interest, I mean, because that's the one thing. CeCe Sabathia right now has a 2.28 ERA. I don't know how many people actually know that.
That is incredible.
He's been very good in his last half dozen starts. His ERA is below 1, like way below 1, like 0.71. And if I could get out from under his contract, I'm doing it. I mean, I don't even hesitate, because the contract is still a bit of an albatross. CeCe has adapted to a new style of pitching. He's got the knee brace on. He's obviously overcome the alcohol issues that he dealt with last year right before the playoffs.
Right.
And he's obviously pitching very well. But to me, all that means is if I'm Brian Cashman, hey, at the deadline, I got a chance to get rid of this contract.
Right.
At 1 year early, instead of having to pay him another $25 or $30 million, whatever they're on the hook for next season. Fine, CeCe, take it easy. Somebody wants you. I'm sorry, we got to move on.
But the team, whoever gets them, will they want that contract?
Well, that's the problem with trading CeCe is if you trade him, then it's up to the Yankees how much of the contract they're going to pick up, and depending on what that ratio is, that's the level of prospect they get. They either trade CeCe straight up and the other team takes on the contract, and the Yankees get not anybody who's a significant prospect, or the Yankees say, all right, we'll kick in $15 million. We want one of your top 3 guys. Like when the Mets traded Beltran and got Zach Wheeler from the Giants, how many years ago?
Right.
That was that kind of a trade. Beltran was a significant player still, but the Mets said, all right, hey, we got to build for the future because this team's not doing anything. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And they got Zach Wheeler, who was turning into a great pitcher before he needed Tommy John surgery last year. And if you look at Michael Fulmer for the Tigers, who pitched yesterday against the Yankees through 6 shutout innings, he's the guy that the Mets gave up for Yoenis Cespedes last year. So, and let's face it, the guy was blocked with the Mets. It wasn't like he was going anywhere.
Right.
So it wound up being a good trade for Fulmer and for the Mets, because they got a guy who they needed.
It's proved himself, but right now, you know what? Let's take a break. We'll talk about the Mets when we get back. You're listening to From the Pressbox right here at 90.3 FM WHPC. I'm Rob Leonard. He's Tim Leonard. We'll be back right after this.
Live. If so, why not come to Nassau Community College and become a certified EMT? You can complete this program in 4 months and begin your career as an EMT, earning $27,000 or more. During this program, you will learn basic life support for individuals with illnesses or individuals that have been in accidents
for an EMT?
and require emergency medical treatment prior to arrival at a hospital emergency room. You'll learn CPR and take FEMA classes. The course begins June 2nd. For further information, please contact the Center for Workforce Development at 516-572-7487 or visit the NCC website.
Let that go.
This message was brought to
be
you
like
by
the Indy 500 driver who's
like
not making the
the
fuel
radio
stop.
voice of Nassau Community College, streaming at ncc.edu/WHPC.
Hi, this is Michael Anthony. Join me every Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. for the best of traditional jazz and American popular standards. The vocalists, musicians, arrangers, and composers are always celebrated each week with artist profiles and special guests. It's a celebrated musical art form that is alive and well. So tune in every Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. for The Unforgettables on WHPC 90.3 FM, the voice of Nassau Community College, the station that gives you music, memories, and so much more.
Every day, 70,000 puppies or kittens are born in the U.S. Cute, right? What's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents, which leads to millions killed in shelters each year. Turns out, those little cuties can get pregnant sooner than you think. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. When you bring home a pet,
when Mom got curly, first thing she did was
prevent
more.
Fix that month.
I'll get 6 more dollars.
Fixthat4.com for more information.
That's the right thing to do. Bob Barker said so.
You're loving this, brother, I know.
I just figured out. We did one extra commercial this week because you wanted to hear this song again.
No, we didn't. One extra commercial.
Yeah.
Well, that's 30s. Yeah?
No, one extra break.
Oh, no. We did
yeah.
3 breaks. That's what normal. Except we did a 10:20, 10:35, and 10:50.
Right.
Let's talk about the Mets. This is a weird year for the Mets. Hitting right now is not agreeing with the Mets. It's like indigestion right now.
Not agreeing.
Conforto can't hit right now.
He's got a wrist.
Yeah, he's got the wrist injury, yeah, but he's still not hitting. Why don't they just let him...
Because he's got a wrist, that's why.
Why don't they let him sit down and,
And who's going to play?
I don't know, get someone else. Put him on the disabled list. If you can't hit, then why be out there?
When you say get somebody else, who?
I don't know, Ike Davis. They could have gotten Ike.
There's going to be video of me on YouTube this week hitting my head against the desk here.
Anyway, also Terry Collins.
Hospitalized. Terry Collins is
undisclosed testing.
Something going on with Terry. I'm not even going to speculate.
That sounds like a phrase they use with David Wright.
I have my own theories on Terry, but I'm not going to speculate on the air.
Please don't.
Because it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
But Terry Collins left the clubhouse 30 minutes before game time yesterday, and was brought to the hospital. And there were what were termed undetermined tests were performed, and Terry Collins wound up staying in the hospital overnight for observation.
Yeah,
so
well, that's what they do. You know, they keep you in for a day, see if you die.
Wow.
That's what they...
Inappropriate.
It's not like you go in and they say, okay, you know.
Pretty sure Terry's not going to die since he walked into the hospital on his own power.
Hey, that doesn't mean anything. You can do that and have problems.
Well, anyway, Terry Collins was not at the game yesterday. Dick Scott, bench coach for the Mets, took over on Sunday and watched the Mets make 3 errors and lose their second straight to the Milwaukee Brewers, which, if you're a contending team, you can't lose 2 in a row to the Milwaukee Brewers because they're terrible.
They are.
All right? But, again, the issue was the bats. The Mets
can't hit.
They can't hit. There's too many injuries right now. You're talking about David Wright, Lucas Duda, Conforto, who was trying to play through the injury. It's a mess right now what's going on with him. And now the most recent one, Neil Walker, who got hit in the chest with a one hopper. They were talking about exit velocity and whatnot, and that's what they talk about when a guy hits the ball really hard. And apparently this one had exit velocity of over 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
So it was like getting hit with a Randy Johnson fastball right in the chest, which is not a place where most major league hitters would get hit. So, he's dealing with that, and he's also dealing with a back issue too, which apparently he had a chiropractor come in and give him an adjustment, and he said he felt better, but that remains to be seen. The Mets right now are just, they're, like we said before, they're just kind of an up and down, on and off kind of a team. They do have the 4th best record in the National League, so technically right now they are a playoff team.
Right now they're playing, if you look at the record,
well.
You say, 4th place, okay, that's good, but there's nothing special about them right now. They on and off. It's like they turn it on and turn it off.
But let's put it this way.
Actually, I should say they turn it on and let it fail. I don't want to say they turn it off, because that sounds like they just stopped trying. If they just
You
fail.
said that last year.
What?
You said that last year. It was last year or 2 years ago. I remember you saying about, in fact, 2 years ago for the Mets you said that they stopped trying. And I scolded you on the air for that. I remember that, because you just said that. It lit up a light bulb in my head.
I'm glad you're smart. So anyway, brother, let's, I want to talk, you have a little soccer you want to talk to, because there's actually soccer happening right now.
Yes.
The Copa America tournament, what is that, first of all?
Well,
we should say we're a soccer-friendly show.
Yes, that's a tournament with the United States and Central America, Latin America, South America countries. The big news, actually, there's two bits of big news from Copa America. The first being that the United States has advanced to the quarterfinals as the winner of their group, which was a surprise after they lost to Colombia. But they will be facing, I had this written down somewhere and I can't find it now. We'll face Ecuador on Thursday in Seattle. Now, the other choice would have been if they finished second in the group, and then they were looking at playing against Brazil. But that's the second huge piece of news, is that Brazil's been eliminated from the tournament, which is shocking because I think most people thought Brazil was going to win the tournament. Brazil finished third in their group after losing to, I believe it was Peru yesterday, which was stunning because Peru apparently hadn't beaten Brazil in like 40 years or something like that, which doesn't really surprise me. But right now they've just finished the group play in this tournament. And like I said, the U.S. is playing Ecuador Thursday in Seattle. There's games on Friday at MetLife Stadium if any local soccer fans want to go out and see that. I'm sure a lot of tickets have been sold already. And you can catch the schedules in the papers and whatnot. But this is, again, it's kind of a mirror of the Euro 2016 tournament, which is being played over obviously in Europe and France right now, which is the European Championship. So while that's going on, the teams on this side of the world play in their own tournament.
Do they meet in the middle?
No. There's no. The two tournaments have nothing to do with each other.
So if they did, it's sort of like a World Cup.
Well, yeah, but that's why they have the World Cup.
Yeah.
So they don't need that. But the Euro 2016 just started. They haven't even, all of the teams haven't even played one game yet. They're still in the middle of the very early stages of that. And plus, there are a lot more teams in that than there are in Copa America. So. You'll be hearing about Euro 2016 for several more weeks.
Okay, because I know Fox has been covering it and they've been making a big deal out of it, and I know the standings are on the Daily News, so that's